Hey there, YouTube family. Dr. K here, back for another video. Okay, so summer is over and it's time to head back into the classroom. I know you're probably feeling like me, thinking the summer was too short. It was too short. But today we're going to talk about some self-care tips on how you can successfully navigate the classroom without losing your mind. But before we dive in, I want to introduce myself to those who may not know me. I'm Dr. K. On this channel, Winning in Education, we talk all things winning. So I want you to be winning in education. So whatever winning means to you, you could be new to teaching, you could be in teaching, trying to move up, you can be thinking about moving out of teaching, whatever that means, we talk about it here on this channel. So thank you for joining me. So today, we're talking about going back to work. I know it is, the summer just seems to fly away very quickly. I feel the same exact way. I'm already back to work and yeah, I'm feeling what you're feeling. So today we're going to talk about the importance of self-care. On this channel, we've talked about self-care a bit, and I'll link to those videos up in the top here and in the description video part of this. But today, yeah, let's get into it. I have 4 tips that can help you navigate from summer mindset, because I have a whole mindset for summer, and back into the classroom. So tip number 1, you have to prepare yourself mentally and emotionally. All right, so let's just dive into that. We have to acknowledge our feelings. Some of us are happy and elated. Let me just go ahead and say that. Now, I'm not in that group, but I know there are teachers out there that are happy and elated to go back to work. But the other ones who are not probably are looking at me like, Dr. K, really? Yes. So let's discuss the other issues that we may be having. So some of us may be fearful about going back to work in the classroom. What is it going to be like? We have anxiety around that. Like, what is it going to be like? Is it going to be great? Or we just have all out dread. Whatever we have, it is valid, right? Your feelings are valid, so don't let anybody tell you that your feelings are not valid. They are valid, and you get to feel what you get to feel. Acknowledge them, process your feelings, and then under this tip number 1, I want you to be intentional about your mental state. So think about doing mindfulness activities, meditation if you meditate, just simple breathing exercises to help you keep your mental state in the right positive frame of mind and to keep you emotionally grounded. So simple breathing exercise. I am going to link down in the description my favorite 15-minute mental break that I take sometimes during the day. I have a half an hour lunch now, and they're very much of a stickler to keeping to the lunches. So 15 minutes of that, I will do this little 15-minute meditation. I'm going to link that down there. Just try it. If you have a half an hour lunch, and I know teachers, I have been a teacher, I know we rarely get lunches, but you may be able to squeeze in 15 minutes to do this. So don't not prioritize tip number 1, your mental and emotional health as we think about moving back into the classroom. All right, so that was tip number 1. Tip number 2 might be a little controversial for some in your circle, particularly your professional circle, but I want you for tip number 2 to prioritize setting boundaries. You have to do it. Okay, so I want you to think about setting boundaries and protecting your non-work family hours now. And when I say family hours, I used to cringe when people would say that back in the day. I don't have any kids, but family hours could just be you as a single person, whatever you decide to do for your personal family of 1. So You have to set these boundaries. What time am I going to work when I go home to? I'm going to take work home, I get off at 3, and I'm going to stop working at 5 or 6. You have to set boundaries. That means setting boundaries around your cell phone, right? Most of us have our work email attached to our cell phone. I do. But I don't answer it after a certain time. Now, I hear it, and even when my boss, this is in the last couple of jobs, and I'm training my current boss around this, if they start emailing me after hours, and for me, like 7 o'clock, I'm done. I don't respond. I don't say I saw this, I'll get to it in the morning. I just do not respond until the next day. You have to train people how to treat you. And part of that is outlining your boundaries. And part of that for you is knowing your boundaries. So set your boundaries about emails from work, text messages from parents and students and from other colleagues. Like, resist the temptation to respond to emails and respond to text messages unless it's an absolute emergency. I mean, the school's burning down, one of your students got sick or died. I mean, those are emergency situations that you would compromise these boundaries for. Other than that, don't do it. You've got to be strong here, because this is where people get weak. You start to feel guilty. Oh my gosh, my boss emailed me and it sounds like it's urgent. I better go ahead and no. You could be out somewhere and you didn't have your phone on you, right? I was out, I was hiking. I didn't have my phone. Or I was in a concert, I was at a movies. I didn't have my phone. Just because we're in this 24-hour cycle where everybody feels like it's an emergency and you should be available 24 hours, you should not. So you have to train people to respect your boundaries. So tip number 2, prioritize your boundaries, know what they are, and stick to them. Okay. Number 3, my all-time favorite tip is you have to really nurture your personal well-being. No one is going to look out for you better than you can look out for yourself. So just because the summer is over, there is no need to forget about your physical health, your sleep routine, or your hobbies and interests. So let's think about these one by one. Your physical health. If you exercise all summer, and exercise could be anything from I got a 15-minute walk in all summer, whatever you did, you should still be doing that. Exercising, eating right, eating well, getting your veggies in, right? And staying hydrated. I stayed hydrated more so in the summer than I typically do during the work time for some reason. I don't know what is that about. But we have to be mindful. So now I keep a bottle of water everywhere I am, and I have to remind myself, drink water. I also have to remind myself to take regular bathroom breaks. Now, teachers, again, when you're in the classroom, it's hard to get out the classroom to even go to the bathroom. But don't just not try to do it, right? Try to do it. Make a buddy with you and your teacher next door and say, okay, I need to run to the bathroom, and when you need to go, let me know. It is 10 minutes at best that you're stepping in the hallway and you're kind of looking between 2 classrooms. So physical health is important. Sleep routine. I'm going to go ahead and raise my hand and say my sleep routine is just out of whack. I don't know if that's because I'm getting older, but I know it's important for us to have a consistent sleep schedule for your overall health as well as for your energy level, right? We need sleep so we can be energetic to come into the work the next day and tackle whatever is on our desk. So don't work past a certain hour and then think, okay, I'm going to work up until 10 and then I'm going to go to bed and I'm going to be asleep by 11. It's not going to happen that way. You need time to unwind. You need wind down time. So you have to cut off your devices, right? And then you have to have some sort of routine where you ease yourself into sleep. Maybe that's taking a bath. It could be meditating. It could be that 15-minute meditation I'm going to give you below. It could be reading a book. But it is not thinking about work, stressing about work. Oh my God, tomorrow's going to be horrible and I better make sure I better call that pin. Try to cut your brain off. That's the hardest part. Cutting our brain off about work. So Try to develop a real sleep routine that works for you. I cut off my devices at 9. I might have a cup of tea, some chamomile, or maybe I take a bubble bath, and then maybe I just read some fiction, trashy fiction, mystery, whatever your fiction fix is, so that you can get out of your work mind. And then finally, this nurturing your well-being for tip number 3 is keep up with your hobbies and interests. So continue, or if you did not have one over the summer, develop some activities that you enjoy outside of work, outside of your school environment that will allow you to relax and recharge. So crafting, writing leisurely, not work writing, reading, non-work reading. You're trying to make sure that these are outside of work. So that was tip number 3, nurture your well-being. And then the final tip is build or strengthen your support system. You need support throughout this job. I've been a teacher, I'm back in K-12 now, and it's stressful. But you have to be able to have supports around you. So connect with your peers on the job, right? Emphasize the value of collaboration and sharing experiences with your fellow teachers for mutual support. It's okay to talk about work, but it's not okay to only talk about work. So I want you, once you start establishing these relationships, of course, we're all going to get together and we're going to crank about work and blah, blah, blah. And then you guys should come up with some norms for your support. There should be some time where we say, okay, guys, we have just been talking about work, crying about work. Now it's non-work conversation. What books are you reading? What trashy things are you looking at on Netflix? Talk about other life things. There are other things happening in your life outside of work. So you have to be intentional in these support systems to not just have it devolve into a crazy talking about work such. I was going to say something else, but I'm not going to say that on YouTube. Don't have it become so toxic that all you're talking about is work. And then also when you talk about strengthening these relationships, I want you to try to normalize the idea that when we talk about relationships and support systems, maybe you're having some different sorts of anxieties or issues that your normal peer or family and friend support system cannot help. And then you need to take it to the next level. And the next level is you may need to seek out professional help. So we should normalize seeking out professional help because there's nothing wrong with it. You do what you need to do to make sure that your emotional and mental and spiritual health is all good. So if you're struggling with stress and or other mental health issues, never hesitate to seek out professional help. Most of our companies and school districts, they have an employee assistance hotline, which is free for employees, confidential, no one in your job is going to know, and you just may need that one professional person to talk to that kind of take you out of the slump. So don't wait until it gets so terrible. If you feel like you're struggling with this real stress and real mental issues, seek out professional help. All right, guys, so that's it. My tips were very simple, but I think they will help you get through the school year. Tip number 1, prepare mentally and emotionally. Tip number 2, which I think is my favorite, prioritize your boundaries, set boundaries, stick to the boundaries, and don't feel guilty about it. Tip number 3, nurture your well-being, health, sleep, and hobbies, right? And then the final tip was build your support systems and seek out professional help if you need it. All right, guys, so I want to wish all of you who are entering back into the classroom a happy school year. I will be with you on this channel. I hope you come and share the good, the bad, the ugly, whatever you want to share. Feel free to share it in our comment section. If you have not liked this video, please do so. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, and I will see you on the next video. Bye for now.